You don't need me to tell you that this new E-Class first saw the light of day back in 1995. Well, since then, it's gone on to become one of the most popular passenger cars in the world and spearheaded an entirely new direction at Mercedes-Benz. This doe-eyed beauty was soon followed by an estate version. Then came the C-Class estate, the SLK, the CLK, the A-Class, the M-Class and the S-Class. And the S-Class was rightly greeted with all the superlatives going, the best car in the world. And with this relentless torrent of product, volumes have gone berserk. 24,000 to 60,000 in 4 short years. It looks like there's no stopping the three-pointed star. But despite all this activity, all this bustle, all this success, Mercedes-Benz have taken time to stand back and reappraise this, the car that is the cornerstone of their success. And we're not talking about a makeover or the odd nip and tuck, but a complete new facelift, and here it is. Now, before you start saying, what's he talking about, these two cars are exactly the same, they're not. It might not be instantly obvious, but I'm here to tell you there have been over 1,800 modifications and changes. There are new engines and gearboxes, new wheel designs, even more passive safety, ESP as standard, plus new options like Command, and not forgetting those wonderful comfort seats we first saw in the new S-Class. In fact, this is a very subtle yet significant facelift. This is one of the best looking frontal aspects in the business, and it's been made more dynamic. The bonnet is lower. New grille, new bumper, new fog lamps, the whole thing is down by 2 centimeters. On the doors, we've got the mirrors we've seen before on the S-Class, but they're slightly different, slightly shorter here, and they've got 9 LEDs in here, which will last the life of the car. Body mouldings are colour-coded along with the door handles, and on the back, gone are those oval rear lights, replaced by these new sleek ribbed units which vary in shade depending on the model line. But it's in the interior that the changes are really sweeping. Right, where do I start? Well, how about standard partial electric seat controls down here, much easier to use than that fiddly wheel, cushioned armrests on the doors, lined door pockets to keep your change from rattling about. Same materials on the console and dash as used on the S-Class. New speakers, new glove box lid, even new wood around the gear shift gate. And the little touch that means so much, a chromium 3-pointed star on the keyring. There's a raft of new interior colours, Galaxy Blue, Medium Orion Grey, Java, and this is Quartz. But the thing you first notice is the redesigned instrument binnacle and the multifunction steering wheel, which is a lot like the S-Class. You've got controls here for your radio and your telephone, which you do with the touch of a thumb. Morning. And there's the option of Command, cockpit management and data systems, as fitted to this E320 Avantgarde. It's a lot like the system in the S-Class. It means that you control the functions of your telephone, your satellite navigation, your CD, your radio from this handy center console here, and it can be worked by both driver and passenger. Passive safety is up, as well as standard his and her airbags, plus side bags. You now get window bags as standard as well. Plus, there's even the option of rear side bags too. So, what's it like to drive? Well, I have to say that this 320 CDI is quite surprising. Those of you who know me will know that I am not a great fan of the despicable Dr. Diesel. In fact, I would rather have bits of my anatomy cut off than drive an oil burner. But this, I drove this car 400 miles yesterday to Birmingham and back, and it is an utter and complete revelation. 0 to 60, 8 seconds, 141 miles an hour, buckets and buckets of torque, and it's so refined, so quiet, so smooth, and you get 35 miles to the gallon. I have to say I am a complete and utter convert. If I had to drive a diesel, this would be the one I would drive. In fact, here we go. It's got to be the best diesel in the world. But the most overriding impression on this car is just how smooth and refined it is. The ride quality is better. You go over a pothole and you think, oh, that felt nice. The body control is superb. The whole plot really does feel much more secure, much more tied down. And of course, all E-classes have ESP as standard, and to explain exactly what ESP is, my associate, Mr. Tiff Needell, who alleges to be something of a racing driver, will tell all.
Mercedes-Benz's unique pioneering electronic stability program, ESP, is at the leading edge when it comes to electronic control systems. It combines all the elements of ABS, BAS, ETS and ASR. ESP uses a complex system of computers and sensors to detect when a vehicle is on the brink of losing control and perhaps spinning, and then reacting to keep the driver in control. It achieves this remarkable feat by braking each wheel precisely and individually, together with varying engine power. It must be made absolutely clear, of course, that this system cannot defy the laws of physics. A corner attempted at a speed in excess of the level of grip of the tyres will still cause the vehicle to leave the road. Sensors measure virtually everything that moves, and even things that are about to move. Vitally, they include one that detects a twisting or a spinning movement of the car. It's yaw. The amount of movement that occurs is compared with the amount of control input. Steering wheel movement, for example. And if the computer thinks that too much car movement is starting to occur, it will judge that the car is about to go out of control and do something about it. By way of an example, have a look at this CLK without the benefit of ESP. Travelling at 60 miles an hour, the driver had to swerve left to avoid a hazard and then back to the right again. The pendulum effect built up and he lost control of the car. Now let's see exactly the same test with an E55, this time with ESP. Pretty impressive, don't you think? The magical powers of individual wheel braking have overcome a developing skid, leaving the driver hugely relieved that a drama hasn't been made out of a crisis, thanks to ESP.
But against all this backdrop of change, the three model lines, Classic, Elegance and Avant-Garde, remain constant. Although the Classic, supposedly an entry-level model, now doesn't sound like an entry-level model at all. You get standard ESP, standard partial electric seats and standard multifunction steering wheel. The Elegance gets everything the Classic does, plus walnut trim, new wheel designs and rain sensor, while the Avant-Garde gets maple wood interior, new 5-spoke alloys, blue tinted glass and that all-important sport suspension. And you'll be very pleased to know that there have been plenty of changes in the engine department too. All the engines offer more power, torque and improved fuel economy. In fact, the E220 CDI now has a very respectable 143 brake, up from 125, thanks to new turbine technology. And the E320 CDI, which has to be one of the best diesels in the world at the moment, is only £1,000 more than the outgoing 300 turbo diesel. All engines are available across the three models, with the exception of the 4.3 petrol, which is only available on the Elegance and Avant-Garde. And of course, the wonderful 5.5 litre V8 exclusive to the AMG E55. 5-speed electronic automatic transmission, now with the silky smooth tip function, is standard across the range except for the E200 and E220 CDI, which get a new 6-speed manual, though naturally the auto is still available as an option. So what about the competition? What about the E-Class's established rivals? Well, let's start with this, the Audi A6. Now, in many ways, it's a strange car. The build quality is really excellent. There's some lovely detailing. You've got some nice engines, nice 5-speed automatics. But for me, the problem with this car is it doesn't give off the right messages. It doesn't give off the same sort of halo of positive associations like the Mercedes. It's not really a credible luxury car. It doesn't have the authority, doesn't have the gravitas. That, coupled to its really rather average residuals, means that it would be the very, very last car on my list. And the thing that really annoys me about this are all these red lights, the dashboard, and more red lights than Amsterdam here. Nope, this one's not for me, sorry. And so to the Jaguar S-Type. Now this is the 4 litre, which is a very, very quick car, and it's very competitively priced. It may have been a huge success for Jaguar, but it is completely and utterly knackered sales of the XJ8. It's got a very good road presence, but it's becoming a bit of a cliche. This retro styling hasn't stood the test of time, and I maintain that the ROVR 75 is a better designed and better looking car. There are also lots of issues about build quality in the interior. You could throw a chimpanzee through some of the gaps in the trim. And look at this. Look at this wood fillet here. Not what we like on a posh car. So it's no longer separate, it's no longer distinctive, and let's face it, the image is just a little bit too mature, a little bit too old. Jaguar's going to have to watch it in case all their customer base just dies off. And so to the Lexus GS300. It is smooth, it is refined, and it is as quiet as a church mouse in carpet slippers. It might have been designed by Giugiaro, but he was definitely having an off day, because this car is as pretty as a bison. There's also this relentless vista of grey plastic in the interior, and you're sitting here holding this steering wheel, and you have in front of you a grey plastic bottom topped off with a little L. It just doesn't move you at all. And the problem with the Lexus is the image. They have mismanaged the brand. Lexus's image was stronger in 1990 when they brought out the LS400 than it is now. So in this fiercely competitive world of prestige car where image is absolutely everything, this car doesn't score. All it is an overgrown Toyota. It doesn't say anything positive about the driver, apart from the fact that he likes a few gadgets, and that's it. Sorry. And so to the BMW 5 Series. Now this dynamically is absolutely fabulous. You can't take that away from the car. It set new standards, lovely engines, gearboxes, powertrain, very refined. But the car isn't the problem, it's the people who drive BMWs. The brand is in a bit of trouble. They've sold far too many 3 Series, you see them going up and down the motorways. It's become a rep's charger. And there is, to be perfectly frank, a BMW now parked outside every fish and chip shop and kebab house in the country. They are driven by people temperamentally unfit to control anything larger than an electric razor. I'm sorry, the brand is in deep, deep trouble. And if you compare it to the 3-pointed star, which is just so much more sophisticated and elegant, it's a loser. And that would be the reason why I would not buy this. I'd buy the Merc. There is a saying that perfection is the child of time, and Mercedes-Benz have spent the last 4 years making what was already a class-leading car a whole lot better. This is now more refined, more comfortable, more dynamic, even safer and even better looking. And 4 years ago, I stood in front of you and I said that this was a car you could buy with both your heart and your head. And that is doubly true today. The Mercedes-Benz E-Class, one of the finest cars in the world.